The 2023 Transformers comic, published by Skybound, has ended its first story arc from issues 1 through 6, and I want to present an issue-by-issue breakdown for y'all as I analyze one of my favorite comics of the modern day. With writing and artwork by modern-day legend Daniel Warren Johnson, this is Transformers 1 through 6. Issue 1 starts with Sparky, a war veteran sleeping in a bar as he gets flashes of traumatic memories from his past, like being in wars and losing one of his sons, Jimmy. His currently alive son, Spike, checks up on him, where we see that the two don't quite see eye to eye. Spike wants to remember all the good times of his brother Jimmy in order to cherish them, while Sparky just wants to bottle up his sorrows instead of confronting the memories, good or bad, he had with Jimmy. Pretty interesting character dynamics going on about how different generations of men deal with their emotions and masculinity. Spike and his art-inclined love interest Carly are on a night out and about until they come across a bunch of offline Autobots and Decepticon bodies. Jetfire comes into the scene, who has no idea his robot friends have been waging a war, and wakes up his good pal Starscream first. Now, in most Transformers media, Starscream is a pussy, mainly because he has to take orders from Megatron, but without any Megatron to string him along, well, the first thing he does is murder a defenseless Bumblebee. It's a bold statement for a first issue, letting other Transformers take the spotlight for this series while giving way to a shocking moment showing that nothing is sacred here. Jetfire is shocked at his good pal Starscream's dirty tactics, but before Starscream blasts him, Optimus comes into the scene with a suplex on the bastard Decepticon. Daniel Warren Johnson is a big fan of wrestling, so much so that he made a whole comic book about it called Do a Powerbomb, so it's nice to see his Transformers work, making Optimus Prime a superstar robot wrestler, even only in fighting style. I personally think that Optimus grappling dudes is much more in character for the noble hero than using weapons, so I quite like these wrestling homages. Hell, when Optimus even does use a gun in the comic later, he shows hesitation and regret. An all-out battle breaks out as more Autobots and Decepticons start to awake, like Ratchet and Skyward, but just as the Autobots try to escape, Prime mourns Bumblebee, with this being one of many moments of great pathos I love this book for. Most reimaginings of 80s or 90s kids properties like to go for edgy for the sake of being edgy, but we've seen that done before, and even then, not that well, so giving heart to the violence, a reoccurring theme in Johnson's other comics like Murder Falcon, is very much appreciated, and helps this Transformers book stand out from its contemporaries. We even see this heart extend to a dying Jetfire as Optimus confronts him in his last moments. However, the first issue of this comic ends on quite a pants to be darkened note to show that this version of Starscream isn't screwing around, as he kills a human by squishing it to death. What a cliffhanger, man! I gotta read the next issue right now! So let's do that, as issue 2 begins with 2 pages that perfectly showcase what I want out of my Optimus Prime characterization. Optimus takes a moment to admire the beauty of Mother Nature, until he accidentally steps on and kills a tiny deer, proceeding to board it. To me, Optimus Prime is a noble soul who wants the best for everyone, always working to improve himself and the world, even if it means fighting a brutal fight. After this beautiful moment, Spike and Optimus exchange words about their histories before we're introduced to Cliffjumper, who takes Optimus and the humans back to show that Optimus's trailers tried to repair Wheeljack, but they're running low on Energon to do so. Elsewhere, Starscream and the Decepticons do a local terrorism to a power plant to get more Energon for themselves, so the Autobots go forth to fight the evildoers before ending the issue on another gut punch. Carly meets up with Sparky to find out that their father is dead, the man that Starscream killed in issue 1. Man, Johnson won't let up with these cruel cliffhangers, but hey, war do be hell. Issue 3 begins with one of Soundwave's cassette beasts attacking a reeling Carly along with an armed and dangerous Sparky. Luckily, Cliffjumper saves them before getting shotgunned in the face by Sparky out of fear. Later on in the issue, Skywarp attacks more humans before Optimus comes in to save the day. But once again, the humans don't know who to trust, so Optimus gets a rocket to the back for his troubles. In the midst of the mindless violence, Spike gets shot, causing Optimus out of rage to rip his broken arm off and use it as a weapon against the Decepticons. Johnson is thriving with all this creative action paneling on this aged up take on a childhood classic. This is how you do robot brutality, man. As for issue 4, Prime takes Sparky and an injured Spike to safety at a hospital through an exciting chase, though sadly the Decepticons' rampage has left the hospital without power, which leaves so many civilians in danger. So Prime, in a last-ditch effort to save everyone, uses the legendary Matrix of Leadership to turn the power back on, showing that there's no problem big or small that Optimus wouldn't risk his life for. From there, we get more contemplated moments of the cast, like Ratchet being pissed at Prime for not not using the Matrix to fix himself? Why would he help these angry-prone humans? To which Prime responds that they're all living beings, like Cybertronians. They may be flawed, but they have life in them that should be cherished. Ratchet gives Optimus a choice about how to go about fixing his arm, to which Prime finds a bit revolting but agrees to anyway. And that new arm Optimus has? It's from Megatron, arm cannon and all. Hasbro, please make this a toy, it's so cool! This issue ends with Starscream ripping one of his fellow Decepticons for parts before we see Megatron's fate. And all this time, he's been offline with no right arm, all alone in an Arctic setting. This actually brings me to one of the most important points I have yet to mention about these Skybound books. They're part of a shared universe, the Energon universe. This includes comics like Robert Kirkman's Void Rivals and various G.I. Joe books. Some of these plot threads, like people finding Megatron's body or how Jetfire came to Earth, are in these other books, but I still think you can enjoy Transformers as a self-contained book without having to read any supplemental material. It's a great strength that the best comic universes have. Anyway, issue 5 opens with Sparky and Optimus trading notes on the similarities of the wars they fought in the past, in a very touching scene, showing the two older leader-father figures bonding. Right after the Autobots use the hydropower of a dam to gather more Energon, Optimus revives RC before the Decepticons attack our heroes once again, leading to all sorts of fun fighting. In the midst of it all, Optimus and Starscream get this awesome exchange. Starscream yells at Prime for taking something precious from the Decepticons, being Megatron's arm, then Optimus is like, bruh, don't you hate Megatron because you'll never be him? Ultimately, the Autobots drive the Decepticons away for now as they head to the fallen spaceship the Cybertronians came to Earth in, the Ark, but not before ending the issue with Starscream summoning Devastator, one of my personal favorite Decepticons. Half because of the Transformers Devastation video game, and half because he's a combining robot, and as a Super Sentai and Power Rangers fan, I just find that stuff really cool. Now time to end this first story arc with issue 6, and Devastator just goes to town on everyone, badly injuring Optimus in the process. Everyone escapes into the Ark, and we have a nice moment of Cliffjumper protecting Carly against Starscream. Cliff and Carly have slowly but surely been bonding throughout the course of the story, so it's nice to see Cliff fight against the Decepticon that killed her father. The rest of the Autobots try to save Optimus, but it seems like, much like the famous '86 animated movie, he's on his deathbed. But from one father figure to another, Sparky gives up his life to energize the matrix of leadership and heals Optimus Prime. At the beginning of this story, Sparky was a selfish, heavily flawed guy who let his trauma get the best of him. But after his gung-ho nature against the Decepticons caused his son to be injured, he took time to understand Optimus and his heroic yet self-sacrificial nature that must have rubbed off on him at this moment. When Sparky said, "Tell my son I love him," before becoming one with the Matrix, I felt that, man. You can tell it comes from such a genuine place. Anyway, Optimus is rejuvenated and beats up Devastator, even finishing the giant robot with a suplex move. Before Decepticons can retreat once again, we have another legendary interaction, this time between Optimus and Soundwave, with Prime declaring that while he wants peace, he's not a fool and will fight Soundwave if need be. Soundwave is another one of my favorite Decepticons, so I'm very curious about how he'll develop in the future of the series. Now, despite this first arc being over, it wouldn't be Skybound's Transformers without it crushing my heart in the last page, as we see Spike in the hospital asking, "Where is my dad?" And that was the first 6 issues, or volume 1, of Skybound's Transformers comic. And if it wasn't obvious for me gushing all throughout this video, I freaking love this comic, and it all comes back to the creative team involved. If I had to describe Daniel Warren Johnson's comic work in one sentence, it would be that it bleeds love, both metaphorically and literally. While there's a lot of blood and violence in this work, there's still a lot of heartfelt character moments that shows Johnson's strength as a writer and artist. It is sad that the next story arc won't have his beautiful artwork, but he's still writing the book, and George Corona's artwork looks on par with Johnson's, so the transition won't be as jarring as I initially feared. If you love this comic, please check out Daniel Warren Johnson's other works if you haven't already, like Murder Falcon, Extremity, and Do a Powerbomb. And that's my breakdown of the first 6 issues of Skybound's Transformers. Like and subscribe, I guess. I'm trying something new of this video, so I hope you all like it. I really love these comics and wanted a chance to just gush about them, so I decided to try a new format. Might stick with it for future videos, might not, we'll see. Anyway, thanks for watching, and go read some good comic books.